YouTube, what's going on? Kevin the Tech Ninja here. Now, if you follow my channel, you know that the iPhone 11 Pro Max has been my daily driver. And now here is the iPhone 12 Pro Max. Now, I was super excited to try the phone out. You can even watch my unboxing video. The excitement in my eyes, the elation in my soul, not really, to unbox it. But now that I used it and the hype sort of wore off, is this phone much better than the 11 Pro Max? Is it totally worth the upgrade? Kevin the Tech Ninja here. Let's find out. One thing Apple did this year with the 12 Pro Max is that the starting storage size is 128 gigabytes. Where on the 11 Pro Max, it was only 64 gigabyte, which for some reason, if you have a Pro phone, a Pro Max phone, 64 is just not enough. So that's a step in the right direction. Now this year's upgrade is all about the camera. The whole 12 lineup has had a camera upgrade, but the 12 Pro Max has bigger sensors to allow for better images in lower light situations. So it's fair to say that the iPhone 12 Pro Max is not only Apple's biggest phone, but it's also their best spec phone they've ever created. But we know specs don't tell the full story, and comparing these two phones on paper, you'll see a few things that will stick out, like the size. The 12 Pro Max is actually a bigger phone. It's taller, it's wider, it's thinner, and it's heavier, but that is mostly due to the new build. I love the new build on the 12 lineup. It's squared off and it feels great in the hand. However, for the 12 Pro Max, it's actually harder to hold, and I think it's due to that squared off build that I love. Now, speaking of the build, the 12 Pro Max uses a ceramic shield, which makes it more durable during drops. Where the iPhone 11 Pro Max is just your standard glass build that can break off of one bad drop. The 12 Pro Max sides get very dirty due to its steel design. I mean, even after a few minutes of using it, you get fingerprints and all these things on it. And also, you obviously don't have the same color selection as you did last year. Now, my sponsor Dbrand can do a few things for you. A skin to clean the sides up, and a skin to give you a unique color. Hit my links down below to Dbrand your device. Now, enough of the build stuff, let's talk about the screen, since this is a Pro Max and the screen is a big deal. Now, since this phone has been redesigned, you can assume that the screen is going to be much better, but actually no. It's the exact same screen down to the specs and the nits, and also the refresh rate. Every tech nerd hoped for faster screens like other phones at this price point, however, it didn't happen. So we're stuck with a great screen, but it feels outdated already. Remember I mentioned that the 12 Pro Max is actually a bigger phone? Well, that obviously means the screen is bigger too. A whole 0.2 inches bigger at 6.7 inches. It's to the point where I need to use two hands at all times. It's downright impossible for me to be agile with this phone. And it's really hard to use unless you have a secure grip. I find myself fumbling with this phone more so than I did with the 11 Pro Max. Not saying that 0.2 inches is the make and break size, but for me, over this time period of using the phone, it has been very hard to use. Now, obviously I may get used to it, but I think that squared off design plus that extra size is just an elixir for a uncomfortable experience in the hand. Although the 12 Pro Max has the newer 5nm A14 processor, day-to-day usage is the same. It's not a bad thing. Both phones absolutely fly when loading apps and completing tasks, and gaming on both phones is great too. Playing high-end mobile games, you don't see much dip or shudders at all. I think that's the great thing about Apple chips, is that day one performance is great. I mean, any phone you buy these days will have that, but what about day 700? What about year 3? Is this phone still going to be fast? Lately, Apple's phones with their processors have been very fast even after a couple of years. And many people are not upgrading their phones because they become slow, but they want better battery life and sometimes want to take advantage of the new builds. So of course, between the 11 Pro Max and the 12 Pro Max, you have no difference when it comes to performance. So of course, if Apple's idea of an AR world comes to fruition, then maybe this new processor will be a big advantage, but until that happens, I don't think we'll see a difference. The 12 Pro Max has a smaller battery than the 11 Pro Max. Seeing this on paper, you think the new chip will give it better battery life or maybe equal. Well, that's not the case. The 11 Pro Max actually netted me around 30 to 45 minutes of more battery life on a given day. Granted, it's only been a couple of days, but a lot of other people who've used both phones are actually sharing the same thoughts. The 11 Pro Max battery was excellent, so a small downgrade turns excellent battery life into good battery life, which I'm okay with, but I really hate to see tech go backwards, especially when you see so much gains when it comes to the nanometers and the processor and the raw computing power. I was hoping to see better battery life too, like an upgrade across the board, but we just are not getting that. The 12 also has 5G, but to be 100% transparent, 5G is not really a thing in my area, so it's hard for me to fully test it. I actually turned 5G off so I can get better battery life and a more constant connection. Because when I get near 5G, it kicks on, but I have like low reception for 5G, and I'd rather have, full reception for 4G. And finally, we land on the camera. This right here could be what makes the 12 that much better than the 11 Pro Max. And honestly, the camera is a lot better on the 12 Pro Max than the 11 Pro Max. And this part is crucial to hear. Come here, listen to me. The whole lineup on the 12 series is better than the 11 Pro Max when it comes to the camera. So even the iPhone 12 mini has a better camera. Look, Apple software has gotten so much better in HDR. Like the chains were let go and HDR is running rampant. It's doing its thing. It gives you a better image overall. I would say video feels the same too, but some of these shots I see, especially when you turn on Dolby HDR, the iPhone 12 Max just blows it out of the water. Now Dolby Digital HDR is a whole can of worms, and I can make a whole video explaining this, but I'd rather link to some other people's videos that would explain this better than I would. But it's just a setting on the camera that, really unlocks the true potential of the camera, but there's still some compatibility issues and quirks that needs to be worked out. Now low light is better on the 12 lineup, and the 12 Pro Max takes it to the next level. Now of course, it's not gonna be night and day compared to the 11, but with the 12, since it has larger sensors and it's designed for low light, you get shorter exposure in low light situations, so people don't have to stand still when taking pictures in low light. Like my son, who can never stand still, and I can't get pictures in lower light situations. Now instead of it doing a 2 to 3 second exposure, it may only do a 1 second exposure. Also, if you do pixel peep, as in zoom in on photos in lower light, you will see that it's less noise too on the 12 Pro Max versus the 12, and of course versus the 11. However, in low light video, there are little dots that appear on the screen on the 12 series, and that is with any type of light source that comes into view. It's not happening on the 11, but on the 12, it just sort of ruins the footage. If you have any type of light coming into the lens really just grabs the light and puts it in your video, whereas the 11 doesn't do it so much. So it's kind of a drawback with video mode in like really low light, but overall the camera is much better. So overall, I do find the 12 Pro Max a much better phone than the 11 Pro Max, if you consider the build and also the better camera. But should you upgrade from the 11 Pro Max to this? No. But if you're due for an upgrade, this is the iPhone to get if you want the best camera possible. But most people should just look at the standard 12, or if they want the 2x zoom, should look at the 12 Pro. I think those phones are just better overall, easier to hold in your hand, and also obviously a lot cheaper. But of course, the option is always yours, and there's tons of resources available for you to look into it. Anyways, guys, my name is Kevin the Tech Ninja. If you enjoyed the video, you know what to do. Hit like, leave a comment, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.